Hi, my name is Russell Galt and I work for Earthwatch Europe, an environmental organisation with science at its heart. We work with a range of businesses, large and small, to help them find solutions to pressing sustainability challenges. And one of the questions that our business partners have been asking us lately is how do the recent UN climate and biodiversity COPs, the conferences of the parties, impact on business? So we thought we'd put together a wee video to share our thoughts. Well, firstly, loss and damage. It has been agreed that a new fund will be established to make reparations from rich countries of the global north that have contributed the most historically to climate change, to the poorest countries of the global south that are the most vulnerable to climate change, essentially taking the polluter pays principle to a global scale. Now, from a business perspective, well, this could open up new markets, new opportunities for manufacturing, capital goods, infrastructure development, and clean energy. Another is the crackdown on greenwashing. The UN Secretary General has stressed the need to have zero tolerance for net zero greenwashing. Many companies have set themselves lofty long-term targets, but very little in the interim. And many companies are overly reliant on carbon offsetting as a means to get there. And this is particularly controversial given the recent furor over so-called phantom credits. So we would recommend that you revisit your decarbonisation strategy to ensure that it's realistic, achievable and credible, because undoubtedly it will be subject to increasing scrutiny in the years ahead. Now, moving to biodiversity, the headline there is the so-called 30 by 30 target to increase the coverage of protection of lands and seas to 30% by 2030, and to do so using not only formal protected areas, but also what are known as OECMs, other effective area-based conservation measures. So this dramatic expansion and strengthening of the protected area network is likely to have implications for businesses involved in the extractive industries, so mining, oil and gas, logging, as well as for agriculture and aquaculture, for fisheries, and indeed for tourism. Another target is to reform some $500 billion worth of environmentally harmful subsidies. Now that may seem like a lot, but it's merely a fraction of the estimated total of $1.8 trillion of environmentally harmful subsidies granted annually. And these go towards activities such as synthetic fertilizer production, high emissions cattle ranching, and fossil fuel production. So if you are a company that is reliant on one of these subsidies, you may wish to diversify or pivot or even rethink your entire business model before the carpet is pulled from under your feet. Another target is to ensure that all large and transnational companies disclose their risks, impacts, and dependencies on nature. Now, it's not quite mandatory, at least not at a global scale, although one could imagine it becoming industry best practice in the near future. And now might be a good time to ensure that your company has the right systems and personnel and capacity to be able to better understand, monitor, and track your ecological performance. And as a resource, I can highly recommend looking at the work of TNFD. That is the Task Force on Nature-Related Financial Disclosures. And finally, DSI. This is the digital expression of genetic information, of biodiversity. And it has a number of commercial applications, drug discovery, vaccine development, and crop improvement. And so a new multilateral financial benefit sharing mechanism will be established to ensure that the commercial gains from these DSI applications will be shared equitably with the countries of origin from which the biodiversity came. And so if you work in biotech or genomics, this will clearly have implications for your business, one to keep an eye on. Okay, so that's a rather crude and rushed summary of the ways in which the COPs can impact on businesses. But if you're interested to learn more, please don't hesitate to reach out. We have a very active and talented corporate engagement team. They're full of ideas, advice, and inspiration to help companies like yours accelerate your journey towards net zero and nature positive. Thank you very much.